any kind of trial. I was convicted in a bar proceeding in which I was not allowed to put on any evidence.
Right. You were denied.
My referee received campaign contributions after she got my case from the three people most keen within the bar wanting me to be convicted.
Mm-hmm.
So my point to her and to the bar was you could convict Mother Teresa of prostitution in a case like that.
Right, exactly.
Because if you can't defend yourself, folks, then you're going to be convicted.
And this is all, what people don't realize is that there is one central theme here, one central agency that has the control, and that is the Florida Bar, because they have tentacles that go all the way up to the governor's office. He's a member of the Florida Bar. They go to all most of the legislators. They're members of the Florida Bar.
Attorney General Bill McCollum, who's asked citizens to come forward to the statewide grand jury to blow the whistle on corruption, is a member of the Florida Bar.
Right, and this is where the problem is, folks, because they are the octopus. They are all over the place, and they have tremendous power and tremendous control over their situation. We are trying to get somebody in the grand jury system, somebody, particularly William Shepard, who is the chief prosecutor, who was appointed by Bill McCollum. We want him to pay attention to the victims here of the Florida Bar's corruption. We have specific people at the Florida Bar who have performed these illegal acts. We can name the names. We've named them here on the show. We can tell you John Harkness is involved. We can tell you Ken Marvin's involved. We can tell you others, other prosecutors have been involved. There are people who work for the Florida Bar who just don't care what they say. They'll make up things. They'll make up law. I know in your case, Jack, they used a rule against you that wasn't even in existence before.
Right.
That's just an incredible story here, folks.
Yeah. Maybe the worst example is this. I go on 60 Minutes to blow the whistle on the Grand Theft Auto video games. I was in Alabama operating as an Alabama attorney because I was admitted to that state for the purpose of bringing this wrongful death action on behalf of these cops. The Alabama State Bar Rule says you're allowed to go to the mass media to blow the whistle on activity like that, especially if public safety is at issue.
Mm-hmm.
That was the rule that I was bound by. The Florida Bar's rules are not that clear. So what did they do? They prosecuted me under Florida Bar rules when the ABA and the Florida Bar itself, in their rules, says that the only rules that applied to me were the Alabama State Bar rules. So they even changed up on me in that regard. So, my individual thing is so egregious, so ridiculous, and there's so much there that, you've been talking about it. What's really important for the listening audience is that if you need a lawyer and you need someone to go to war for you, in effect, in a courtroom, you're less likely to get that representation, that zealous representation, because if your lawyer has to take on certain powers that are wired within the bar or within the state government, he will be gone after, he will be prosecuted, and the message is very clear that these are people that you cannot inconvenience, or they will get you.
Yeah, and it's the old story, you can't fight City Hall, and you realize that one of the reasons you can't do that is because the powers that be will do everything they can to stop whoever is representing you, and that's what happens in many cases.
Listen, when they get... I was very useful to them in that when you get someone like Jack Thompson, and it's reported statewide that this guy's been disbarred for taking on the Florida Bar, then everybody gets the message, don't they?
Yes, exactly.
And so it's a very useful... they don't have to get everybody. They just have to get one guy. And in fact, they've gotten dozens.
Yep.
And everybody's watching. Nobody's stupid. And they say, I can't really go as far as I need to because they'll come after me. But unfortunately, somebody has to take them on. Otherwise, they'll just go.
They've made it a police state.
They'll define the battle, and they'll define the rules of the battle, and you won't be able to get the zealous representative of your rights that you need. This affects everyone.
It does, and what I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen, what Jack is talking about, my guest is Jack Thompson. Jack and I have had discussions many times on the air here, and the point of this is that they will affect you in many different ways. The importance is that attorneys who represent you need to know that they have to follow the rules, that they're not supposed to be conflicted, that they're not supposed to be doing things that are against your benefit. They're supposed to be working for you. And when you have a corrupted bar situation where the individuals are not going to be disciplined properly by the bar because they are in positions of power, they can get away with these things. And so you have instances where you can lose your property, you can lose your job, you can lose your family, you can lose your inheritance, you can lose anything that you own, all the wealth that you have. It can be taken from you, and the taking can be done in a court setting where you can be totally in the right, have every bit of the law on your side, and still lose. And so that's what we're trying to stop. We want that to stop by virtue of attorneys being concerned and having the knowledge that somebody's going to come after them and make sure that they're doing things right. Believe me, if doctors or other professionals, CPAs, insurance agents, if the other professions operated the way that the bar operates, where you have a good old boys club that allows an insurance agent to steal premiums and nothing gets done, or you have accountants who are taking your property through some extortion of some type and nothing gets done about it. Believe me, we would be up in arms. Well, it's happening right now in the legal profession, and it needs to stop, and it's because of the Florida bar's corruption. Jack, I want to thank you very much for this afternoon's segment. My guest has been Jack Thompson. Jack has had a really difficult and long-standing battle with the Florida bar, but I hope and I pray that you'll become victorious, that you'll be victorious in what you're doing now. You have the perseverance and the attitude that will help to turn things around. We need more folks like you in the world. We are going to be continuing the programs going on into the future. This is Disbar the Florida Bar. You can hear us streaming live on Disbar the Florida Bar, www.disbarthefloridabar.com. We stream live all around the world. If you want somebody else in another state or another country to listen to the program, they can tune in at 2 o'clock each day. You can also listen to all of the shows that have aired on this program. They are archived on the website. And we also are on Facebook. We would like you to help us with your contributions. It's very important that the show continue and that we air the victimization of individuals by the Florida bar. We hope to get the attention of the grand jury. We have over 15 victims now who have stated unequivocally that they have been victims of the Florida bar's criminal acts and corruption. And we want to bring that to the attention of the grand jury again. And we hope that eventually we will continue, as we continue to knock on that door, it will be open and the investigation will begin. There are specific individuals who we have stated their names, and we continue to talk about them here on the program. We ferreted out of the system. The system needs to be changed. The lawyers need to be disciplined under the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. We'll be right back after a short commercial break. Don't go away. My name is Les Winston, and I host Disbar the Florida Bar right here on the Biz in South Florida.
The United States Trustees Program is the largest organized criminal element in the world.
In Florida, all other professionals except lawyers are governed by the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. Only lawyers regulate themselves through the Florida Bar.
Because the Florida Bar is controlling all three branches of government now. We have attorneys in all three branches. There's a system out of control. There's no more check and balance.
This has created a very dangerous good old boys club and a lot of rotten apples.
Sue me.
Tune in each weekday from 2 o'clock to 3 p.m. and listen to stories of individuals who have been affected by the corruption of the Florida Bar. We want you to be aware of the problem that we have with this disciplinary agency. Join us every weekday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. right here on The Biz. And we're back. This is Disbar the Florida Bar. We're with you every day from 2 to 3 right here on The Biz, the fastest growing radio station in South Florida, 880 a.m. on the dial. And you can also find us streaming live online at www.disbarthefloridabar.com. Once again, this program is intended to bring to light stories of victims of the Florida Bar's corruption. And we have with us this afternoon, our guest is Eliot Bernstein. Eliot, I've spoken to you earlier. We've talked on other sessions, and we've talked about your massive problem with the Florida Bar and also with the New York judiciary. Maybe you can give us a little thumbnail sketch of what happened to you, so we can bring folks up to date with regard to your involvement with the Florida bar and the attorneys here in South Florida and in New York.
Okay. A quick review is that I invented technologies. The technologies that are at stake should be understood that they weren't just run-of-the-mill inventions. They changed everything to do with digital imaging and video on the planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from your use of internet video is using technologies I invented. Your watching of television uses technologies that I've invented. Every digital imaging device, from medical devices to telescopes to satellites to every digital camera that you snap a picture and zoom on, use technologies that I've invented.
What's your background, Eliot?
My background is I'm a psychology major from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I sold insurance for since high school till I began working with clients moving rock and roll bands around the world.
What were they moving?
I worked with a company moving rock and roll bands around the world, toured with a bunch of bands. And then I discovered the inventions, which I've always, since a bad car accident, had a appetite for computers, imaging, and video. And I had been working with the technologies, always staying on the cutting edge. And when the internet was born, it was going to be limited to text and banner ad type images because it operates at a very low bandwidth.
Right. So it's hard to get moving images, I guess, huh?
Yeah, and 30 frames a second, full screen, pumped down a little wire is not going to work.
Right.
And so the holy grail search for the internet was the search for how to distribute full screen, full frame rate video.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the inventions. And it uses mathematical scaling formulas I developed, which are, actually come from my psychology background. They are inventions that use the human mind instead of mathematical equations. What happens is, in both instances, images for the video are shrunk down to a very small size and distributed very small, and then blown up on the user's end, saving 75% of the bandwidth of trying to send full screen data.
When you invented this, when you discovered these inventions or you created these inventions, I guess those are the terms that we would use, I assume that as all other inventors, you want to protect the invention, so you apply for patents. Is that what you did?
Well, the first step is get an attorney.
Yeah, it's getting legal advice.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
And getting a patent lawyer.
Right.
And that was my first step.
Okay.
My father and I contracted with Proskauer Rose, who looked at the inventions here in Florida where they were discovered in Boca Raton, and the partners we took it to, Albert Gortz, brought in his other partner at Proskauer, Christopher Wheeler.
How long ago was this, Eliot?
This is 98, 99.
Okay, so in 1998, you discovered this invention. You went to an attorney, the attorneys at Proskauer Rose, and you were working with an attorney there.
And he came back and misrepresented that Proskauer had patent attorneys, which they didn't. They had been mainly a real estate firm prior to my discoveries.
Right.
And he came back after several weeks of, seeing my inventions and telling me he was going to, get to his main office and find the right people. And what he did was he found the right people, but outside of Proskauer, one